What's up, everyone? So, today I want to make a video discussing how I found out that game, cold approaching, or pickup artistry really doesn't work, and how, in a way, it almost BP'd me. And specifically, I would say I can make more videos about story times of how specifically doing cold approaching BP'd me rather than making me believe in any sort of pickup art. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, for a little bit of context, I was doing most of my cold approaching, a combination of during the day and during night. And I was typically doing this with a group of 2 to 3 people. And for context, I saw what it looked like from a high tier normie perspective, a normie perspective, and a normie, but very short to the point where it's like very detrimental to your SMV. But nonetheless, when I was, doing this a few years back, I really went into this with the assumption of like if I develop my skills in PUA, then like this can really help me. Like this is gonna change my life. I'm gonna have a crazy amount of abundance, and like this is the key. Um, so that's a little bit about me, and I think all of us who were doing this together, we pretty much more or less believed the same thing. We had, similar backgrounds in terms of having read these PUA books. And I would say we caught it pretty much at the wrong time because I do believe that in the West, countries like the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, if you were to have applied pickup artistry as a normie about, 15 years ago, you would be seeing good results. Really, 15 to 20 years ago, I'd say in the early 2000s, I think you'd get like very good results just due to the dating landscape. But nowadays, I think it's totally different and it's no longer the meta and it's simply outdated. Now, that's not to say I don't think behavior matters. I think to say behavior doesn't matter is a little bit extreme, but there's so many variables within it to where it's really minimal. I think just off the top of my head, a way I would think about how I'd put like pickup art or like behavior game into all of it would be the way you value your sort of SMV based on your face, your height, and your physique. It's pretty well known, I think, that face is going to be the primary driver, then height is going to be the next thing. But there's a little bit of a effect with height to where like different degrees will give you more SMV. I think it's very nuanced. And then physique is sort of like the last thing. It's just going to be like a small percentage, and it really doesn't play that big of a role in most cases. And that's where I'd say behavior is, because it's the same thing where if a girl's really attracted to you already, your game is inherently going to be a lot better because they're just going to be seeing your behavior as attractive. It's really the halo effect, and it's going to give you more confidence to express like more confident behavior. It's so tied in hand with the girl's actual attraction to you that it's very negligent. But to not really diverge too much away from the point of this video, I'm going to get into some of the main observations I saw just from a more like strategical aspect. Because I think I mentioned this earlier, but the story times I could share are really the ones that are the most powerful and that would really BP someone the most. But nonetheless, the first thing I really think about is that openers didn't matter. So some days I'd be saying like a certain opener and it'd go really well a couple times. I'd be like, wow, they were really interested in what my question was or that opinion opener. And then I would do it a couple more times, and eventually you get groups that would just like totally just think it's weird or it's like out of context and want you to basically go away. Like, why would you ask me that? Or why what are you talking to me about? It just shows you that if the girl's attracted to you, she's gonna want to talk to you and want to provide insight. And if she's not really interested into you, it's just gonna be seen as a little bit like weird or out of context or trying too hard because they're just not into you. They don't want to talk to you. And so therefore, that was a big thing that I noticed where openers really didn't matter. There's no special opener, and just it simply doesn't matter. Like it never mattered. you spend a lot of time in PUA trying to find every little error you made that showed why the interaction didn't go well or why you didn't get the result you wanted. And you could be like, you know what? It was the opener. I just didn't say it confident that time. And you'll just cope with all of these aspects. If I just didn't say it with enough confidence, I didn't have the right tonage, I didn't have the right verbality, I didn't say it in the right manner. It just never mattered. Like, if you've had girls that are actually attracted to you, you don't even think about it. Like, it just, like, act normal. And it just shows you that if you just be yourself is great advice if they're already attracted to you. But to get into the next point, there's a strong polarity in results. And this sort of goes with the opener, but you can go from a really good interaction that puts you in a state where you're very confident going to the next one, but then all of a sudden the girl just like blows you out and they just want nothing to do with you. It's like nothing changed. Like how am I going from being on 100 to then the next interaction is 0? How was 1 minute I'm on 0 and the next one is 100? This would happen a lot of times. Also, in terms of the polarity with results, when you go to do like group sets with your friends, you'll notice sometimes they're giving all the attention to one guy, and then the next time both of the girls are attracted to your other friend or something. And it's just like very interesting how it's like you're both more or less like doing the same thing, but it's so obvious like who they're actually attracted to more, because there's certain cases where it's like then the less attractive person will call it the guy who's they're not attracted to says something all of a sudden, and then they just like totally ignore him. And this is so common. If you'll see any of these clips with the streamer, I think Marlon, and like the other guy Lacey, where Lacey will say something. I've only seen a few clips, so I don't watch this stuff, but I've seen clips where it's like he'll say something and the girl just immediately turns over to the more attractive guy, Marlon. It's just so obvious. There's nothing you could have said to compensate. Like, they've already decided who they're attracted to. And this is sort of goes into the thing where good game never really gets rewarded. So like there'd be times where you can approach the hottest girl on the street, the hottest girl in the bar, and she, when she's a Stacy, it's almost like you catch her attention. Like, wow, you had really good verbal skills, you had really good body language, and you were very confident. Like, it can throw them off to a certain degree, but it never gets rewarded because they might stick around and talk to you. You might like get their phone number, but you can never get this actual escalation to where setting up a date with them is easy, or they actually want to sit and talk to you for more time. Like, it's kind of like, okay, I'm on to the next thing. Like, I've got my, stimulation from you. Now I need the next person. And you really just know that that's coming down to your face card or your just general SMV at the end of the day. And the next point I really have is that seeing the actual SMV levels, you can totally tell when you get to that high tier normie level. You do just have a little bit more wiggle room to make those outlandish comments, or to sort of play around with them a little bit more, or to make like physical contact without any actual like conversation beforehand. Like, you get these choosing signals before the interaction has even started, to where you just have the confidence to where things are going to go well. And it's just, it varies a lot, where it's like, why is this normie not getting this? Why is this person with less MV like never getting this if they're inherently have a same level of game? And that was another thing, just being in a group, it felt like the person who you would say maybe had the best like verbal game, the best body language, it never really felt like that lined up with who was getting the best results from their approaches. Like, it made you feel like, well, how can we even really judge each other's skill levels if the person who's most attractive is still getting the best results, but the person who's least attractive seems to have the best actual skill level in terms of like a PUA perspective? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And the last point is just the escalation times. And this just sort of goes with the more wiggle room. Like, you just see the more attractive people not have to go through the same barriers, the same, conversation lengths to be able to get results. It just feels like everything flowed a lot naturally, a lot faster, It was very easy. There was no extra thought that goes into it. And this is the thing where, like, doing approaches, you just felt like when the girl actually was into you, you weren't like scared to ask a normal question. You didn't feel the need to keep gesturing to get like more attraction. Like it just didn't seem to like tie in hand, because when they're actually interested in you, a normal conversation with you felt like it went really well. But if you were doing that same conversation with a girl who was not interested in you, it would be miserable. It just shows you the actual difference. But those are some of the main things that I observed just in the actual field from doing approaches. But I'd be curious to know if you guys have any similar takeaways. But I'll catch you guys in the next video, and thanks for watching.